Yeah, it's the production of it.
Whereas you think of podcasts, you just think of people chatting away.
Yeah.
Um,
Just depends how you want it to sound, really.
it does. But, yes. Well, there we go. We'll just hit it and just go for it.
Yeah.
Hello there, I'm Michael Galloway and you're listening to Drumbeg Studio Podcast. In this week's show, we're going to be chatting to special guest musician Michael Galloway. We will also have music from Jamie Age and Julia Rose, but this is the Patryns with their latest single, Do It Again. It's the Patryns, Do It Again, here on Drumbeg Studio Podcast. These guys are a four-piece indie rock band from Grangemouth, and that song, Do It Again, came out on all digital media platforms on the 19th of April this year. All the best, guys, with this song. Hope it's going down with your fans, and all the best with your future. Now it is time to meet this week's special guest. This week's special guest is musician Michael Galloway. Michael,
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. How are you today?
I'm very good. I hope you're well.
Wonderful.
So I want to start off by asking you what life was like growing up and what did you dream of becoming when you were young?
Oh, life growing up was good. I had plenty of access to good music. I had a piano sitting in my house for about 20 years now, and I'm only about 21 myself. So, great. I always remember having a friend on the school bus playing lots of 80s music, Dire Straits and
oh, I love it.
ELO and all that. So that stemmed my interest in older music, and well, yeah, it just grows from there.
It does, yes, yeah. That's quite incredible, that is, because I found myself sitting on the school bus being the only one who listened to that sort of music, and to have someone else.
To be honest, we were the only two, but
yeah,
still, it was a nice injection of good music.
Definitely. So, how early in your life did you take a strong interest in music that you wanted to pick up an instrument and play?
Well, as I say, I started piano from about 6-7 years old, so from then onwards, I always loved the piano, but to pick up more instruments would have been at the start of secondary school when we started joining school choirs and different school bands.
Nice.
And picked up the trumpet at that point as well.
Wonderful, cool.
But apart from that, I mean, only recently just started playing the guitar as well. Definitely had a love and interest about the start of secondary school that I wanted to definitely take that forward.
What was your voice like in the choir?
Oh, well, I was always the bass singer, but I started off rough, but over the years, because it's been better, I actually was part of the, I hate to say this, but there was like sort of the elite choir, in air quotes, of the three best bass singers, three best tenor and alto and soprano singers, and we did quite a lot of good songs. I can't remember half of them these days, but...
Oh, no. Well, that's good. You know, not much training for that, but you just get shoved in the deep end and belt it out.
Definitely, no, and was part of two other choirs as well, kind of just a general boys choir that, to be honest, was mostly there for having fun and messing around, but it was good fun as well.
Yeah.
And then the big ensemble choir as well for the school.
Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned that you've recently picked up guitar. I remember chatting to someone about this, and I find if you can play one instrument that'll then lead you to the guitar, it's got to be the piano.
Yes, 100%. If you were to pick up any instrument to begin with, the piano, because it gives you such a great founding in theory, and just being able to see where all your notes are that you're playing.
Yes, everything's in front of you, whereas the guitar, you know, you've got all the tunings and all this sort of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But if you start with the piano, as you said, it gets you in the mindset for how music should be read. You can obviously read music and then obviously understand chords and all this sort of stuff. And
100%.
Yeah.
So with my knowledge of the piano, the guitar was far easier, just being able to see chord progressions more so than anything else.
Yeah.
But the struggle, of course, is finding out where every note is on the fretboard.
Yes. We're going to be catching up with Michael in just a bit, but before we head back to him, here is a bit more music. This is Julia Rose with her yet-to-be-released single, In Between.
Baby, just want you to know that I'm crazy about you. And baby, in another life I can tell you how I feel. 'Cause now it's too complicated. Wish I could say what I wanted, but it's alright, I'll be fine, at least I say that I try, I fight it, oh I fight it for you. And I know that we left it messy, and it got far too heavy, but I hope that you're happy now, even though I wish that we could go back somehow.
There you go. An amazing acoustic track for you today. That was the incredible voice of Julia Rose with her yet-to-be-released single, In Between. Julia is an experienced acoustic singer-songwriter. She includes plenty of covers as well as a few originals into her sets. You can see her playing regularly at the Tipsy Cow in Kirkcaldy or the Stag Inn in Falkirk. Check out all her latest gigs and all that on her Facebook page. I just want to say, Julia, all the best and many thanks for letting me play that song on my show. I can see you going very far in this industry. Now we turn back to our special guest, musician Michael Galloway. So you mentioned previously your musical influences and all that sort of stuff. At what point in your musical development did you start to do your own composition and write your own music and songs?
Well, that must have been about 2 years ago when I sat down just with the first MIDI keyboard that I picked up and plugged it into GarageBand and just started playing around with different sounds and managed to make about 2 tracks in a couple of weeks.
Right.
Both on SoundCloud. But no, that was about 2 years ago. And since then, of course, I haven't really had the time to sit down and record everything acoustically with being at uni for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
But now that that's just finished, I plan on using the summer holidays to go and start making some more music. But apart from that, not very much.
Not very much. What sort of influences would you take from writing your own music from, genres and also bands that are out there today?
Well, I guess I've just picked myself up an analog synthesizer, so I want to sort of go into 80s music and hopefully get some
relive the childhood.
Yeah, the childhood music dreams and of all the old songs that I used to listen to. But yeah, no, it would be towards that sort of area. God, it's a bit of a challenge though, of course.
It is. I was thinking about this the other day, that when I ask a question like that to a musician and they have to think, I need to nail it down to one. But I think the best trained musicians out there can be influenced by more than one genre. Right?
Oh,
and that
100%.
is absolutely fine.
Well, I mean, I would recommend, of course, taking the pieces that you like from every genre and
take
trying
the best
to
bits and
meld them together.
Exactly.
I mean, I had an old flatmate 3 years ago. He played guitar and he was pretty good. He wanted to mix Spanish acoustic guitar with like electric rock.
Oh wow!
Very bizarre. I don't know if it's my sort of thing, but
Spanish rock.
It worked in his head, and of course, I mean, music's all about what you want to do and what you want to make, and
yes, yeah.
I mean, you can't obviously just go around copying everybody else.
No, you can't. But so when you compose your own music, do you do it on your own or do you do it with other musicians?
I mean, I would love to, of course, sit there with other musicians, but having done electronic engineering at Dundee Uni for the last 4 years, the people that are in my classes, none of them are really musically inclined at all.
No, they're not. No.
And it makes it a bit more difficult to find people on your sort of wavelength. So, I mean, I have to sit there by myself and sit there and try and, of course, master doing drums and bass and guitar and the keys all by myself. And I'm only well versed in piano, let's say, and the rest have all been self-taught.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting just to throw yourself in the deep end, of course, and just, have a crack at it.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course, the first 100 attempts are going to sound awful, but you get past that eventually.
You do, yes. Well, it's interesting that because, I think if any musician would get the chance to work with anyone and another musician, they would be, jumping at the opportunity. It's funny because I've done my own music for, I think I'm probably 6 or 7 years now, and only recently have I involved other people. And it's when you do that, you actually sit back and think, that actually sounds really good. Just by, you can record a piano part and then get someone else to come in and record it instead. And it just sounds so much better because it's
of course
not you, it's someone else. And everyone else, every musician has their own unique skill.
You get to bounce the ideas behind each other.
Exactly. Every musician will bring their own uniqueness to the table. And that just adds to it. And, the convenience of doing it on your own.
There's 100%. There's a convenience because you get to just sit down and say, look, I'm going to do this for half an hour, and then I'll have a coffee break,
Yes.
and then I'm going to go and sit down half an hour again.
And you don't need to wait on others to come in and all this sort of stuff. You
No.
can just crack on.
But then again, there is something to be said when there is another person in the room and you are bouncing ideas and you're hearing how they accent different notes differently or play a different rhythm. It pushes you to think slightly differently. And if there is somebody else there and you're under time constraints, then I mean, the pressure can be good sometimes just to get something out the door rather than if you sit there by yourself and think, oh, I'll get back to this tomorrow, and then a week passes and you haven't done anything about a song.
Yeah. No, that's very true.
Smiley faces, tearful minds, different places so alive. Man they making, who's the guy? Heart is shaking, no lies. Tell me now just how you feel. Covered in disguise, feeling sealed, none what you want from this paradise. Tell me now just what is real, what is on your mind. Feeling sealed, none what you want, what you want.
That's Jamie Age with his debut single, Paradise. That's an incredible track. That came out on the 11th of July this year on all digital media platforms, and you can find the full song on there on Spotify. Jamie is a singer-songwriter and guitarist originally from Slovakia, but he is now based here in Perth as part of the music scene here. He is most known for his technical playing and heavy influences from bands like Iron Maiden and Metallica. Just want to say, Jamie, many thanks for letting me play that song on my show, and I hope it's going down well. All the best with your future. Now we turn back to our special guest, musician Michael Galloway, for the final time today. So when you first went to start studying electrical engineering, what did you think that would entail that you would come out with after that? I mean, I know when you go and study something, your immediate plans aren't to think, what will this take me to? You're just focused on your studies, which is completely understandable. But
I suppose at the time of finishing sixth year, I spent my time at school, about half of it in the music department, and the other half of it was spent in the physics department, working on projects. And I was actually doing a windmill project at the time, trying to work out the efficiency of a turbine.
Nice.
which is really interesting, and the whole kind of science behind that was always kind of caught my eye. But as I say, I also spent half my time in the music department as well. And having left school, my parents just sat down and said, look, what are you going to do now? Because you've got two roads to go down. One, as we just said, of the creative arts being quite a difficult competitive zone versus going into uni and getting a job at the end of it. And that was the plan. It was just go into uni and you have a degree and then you get a job with it. But I mean, 4 years later, thinking, well, my idea of what electronic engineering was versus what it
turned out to be.
What it turned out to be is vastly different. I mean, in a good and bad ways at the same time. But now I kind of look back and see myself thinking, gosh, had I just gone down the harder path of trying to battle through the creative arts and push through that, then I might have been, I don't know. It's really hard to play off in your head if and what's have I done this and of plan the last 4 years differently in your head. But I mean, we're at where we're at now. With an engineering degree, obviously it's helpful in a lot of different music posts, as we were saying earlier on, with audio engineering and vibration and noise testing, all to do with resonance and things that apply quite heavily to a lot of different instruments. Just stuff you wouldn't naturally think about. But no,
you can dive into anything when it comes to sound. I mean, take for the way the world is going now with electrical cars, they kind of need a sound, don't they?
Well,
I remember having this conversation with someone about it could be a massive job opportunity, a gap in the market of creating sounds which would make it sound like the car had an engine, but to make it aware of its surroundings, and the people surrounding it would be able to be aware of it, like pedestrians. Because let's be honest with you, everyone's walking around with headphones plugged in, so they're not going to be able to hear what's going on.
More importantly, their eyes dived into a phone, not around them.
Yeah.
So no, I would agree, 100%, that there's sound and engineering jobs for almost anything. Especially when things are becoming far more electronic now, and all these old analog stuff is just
becoming obsolete.
Yeah. Still well worth the buy, but
definitely
obsolete nevertheless.
So my final question for you is, what does the future hold for you? Are you planning on taking your music into a possible career option?
Well, at the moment I've got two main options ahead of me, and that's either follow the music career and hopefully build something out of that, either being an artist myself or a producer, or the other option is taking my electronic engineering degree and just getting a good job that can supply good money, so that I've got plenty of extra free time and money just to
enjoy yourself with your
music as a hobby rather than as a career. As it stands, I don't know which one I would do, but I mean, I've got, as I say, a couple of applications in for different jobs. There was a sound and vibration engineer that sounded quite interesting, and a sound engineering post with Rockstar Games would also be quite interesting. But it just depends, of course, what jobs come through first.
It does. It also depends on what they see in you. And I mean, that concludes our talk. Thanks very much for coming on.
No worries.
It's been wonderful.
Has been indeed. You've
been great, and hope you've enjoyed yourself.
Definitely have, especially looking around all this music gear lying around me as well on the floor.
It's great to get you in the studio as well. Thanks very much. Well, there you go. A big thank you to Michael Galloway for giving up the time to come and do that fantastic interview, and to even get it done here in the studio. That was just a bonus as well, so many thanks. All the best with your future, Michael, and many thanks again. That's all we've got time for this week. Join me next time for my next special guest and some more amazing music. Until then, see you next time.